I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on GBN, we're talking marriage advice. Marriage advice that's simple, powerful, and proven. The name of the book, Tiny Keys Open Large Doors. It is written by a terrific author and practitioner. His name is Dr. NeilJLavender, Ph.D. After decades of counseling couples, the doctor reveals 5 tiny keys that can quickly reduce conflict, strengthen connection, and create a more joyful relationship. If you're looking for relationship help, communication tips, and lasting love, this conversation and the doctor's book is the right prescription for you. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him on TV today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. This is pretty exciting for me to be able to get the message out.
Well, it's an important message because
Yeah,
almost every marriage at one point will have some problems.
for sure.
Certainly, it keeps men like you busy, doctors like you busy, and divorce courts busy, which is one place we don't want to go because that can be a very painful experience. What is at the heart of most marital issues, in your opinion?
In
If you
my
were to focus
opinion,
on one thing.
I believe it is I call it a failure to wed, to become a we. So you have two individuals that, in a sense, have to become one person and function as a team, at least, at the very least. And couples get into trouble when they forget that. They become adversarial. And they should never ever become adversarial. And what I love about the book and what I do with my clients as well is to give them tools that can immediately bring them together so that they are never adversarial. They're always working as a team, pulling together. I'd also say right now, one of the other threats is things like online dating. It's easy to get a divorce. I think that's a huge problem. And the marriage rate now, if you take an average person, there's a 51% chance only that they're married.
Wow. Yeah.
So
There are
easy
a
to
lot of
do.
problems, there are a lot of temptations, and I think that concept of not fully wedding is
Yeah,
a great one. I know with my wife and I often say to myself, if we have a disagreement about something, don't fight with her because fighting with her is like fighting with yourself,
that's right. That's right.
because
That's
you
a
are
good
a
way to put it.
team and you've
Yeah,
got to stay together.
yeah,
Let's talk about some of the tiny keys.
sure.
What's one powerful key that can do a lot of help in undoing the problems in a relationship?
Well, I do have one for you today. There are five,
Yep,
but I just want to talk for a minute, if I could, about the characteristics, like what makes this different.
sure.
Why another marriage book? Well, I discovered that tiny keys from my own experiences and my own, even my own marriage. I talk about that very openly. We had a divorce date set. I had moved out of the house, and we were able to turn this around, and
Wow.
just by using these 5 tiny keys. So. They are all based on, all the tiny keys are based on behavioral science, but are also biblical.
Hmm.
So I love it when I am a practicing Christian and
Hmm.
a licensed psychologist, but when the two come together, man, I'm
Yeah.
going, whoa, like that's powerful. So the thing I love the most about them is they work immediately,
Hmm.
less than 10 seconds. Like, can you imagine that? Less than 10 seconds,
Wow.
the whole marriage turns around. The effects can last for years. For like a sentence you can say today can last for years and years. They always result in win-win situations. I'm not a big fan of compromise, believe it or not. In
Hmm.
compromise, you get a half a loaf, I get a half a loaf.
Right.
With this method, you both get a whole loaf and maybe even more.
Hmm.
So they're win-win situations. The thing that I like about them the most is that they're counterintuitive. You wouldn't think of it.
Right.
It's kind of like marital judo, I call it. If you put a little bit of effort in the right place, you get these incredible results. And it's kind of, I always bring one of these along. This is my Chinese finger prism, right?
Exactly.
And
The
and
harder you pull, the harder it is to
the
get off.
harder you pull, and couples will say to me, "Oh yeah, we've been fighting for years, and it's horrible. You don't know what I've done. It's terrible. I can't take anymore." And then all of a sudden, you go, "Look at this! Wow! It just comes right off if you
Right.
do the right thing, if you know the trick." So,
Yeah.
so the one to your point, the one I like the most is called the stopper,
Hmm.
and the stopper can end an argument in less than 5 minutes.
Hmm.
It's quite amazing, and I give case studies and so on and so forth. So stoppers are my wife and I have a stopper, which is we just take each other's hand for
Hmm.
whatever reason. It works for us. It might not work for other couples, but it works for us. It's
Hmm.
amazing. Our pastors would say in the middle of a fight, they'd say, "I'll race you to the throne," meaning the throne of God. I'm going to forgive you before you forgive me. I'll have a contest with you. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Right? Another couple, it was a cup of coffee. Honey, let's have a cup of coffee.
Hmm.
A really weird one was a couple would go to Walmart. They'd say, "You want to go to Walmart?" And they just loved Walmart. And then they were together again.
Yeah.
So I love the stopper. I give instructions in the book about how to find your own. It's
Mhm.
very unique. Can I get a little risque here on the show?
Sure, absolutely.
I guess you could edit it out. Here's my favorite. My favorite is there was this guy, he's very, very critical of his wife. And he'd call his wife, he'd say, "Honey, come over here. Look at this. What did you do here? What did you look at this? Look at this." He'd go,
Yeah.
and she'd go, "Oh, I'm gonna fix him. I didn't do anything wrong." So anyway, one day after he had a couple sessions, we found his stopper. So he said, "I'm gonna do this." And this is what he did. He waited for her to come home, and he's upstairs, and he says, "What is this? What is this?" And she goes, "Oh, he's starting again." And she goes up, and she's loaded to bear. She's ready. and and he has all of his clothes off, and he's pointing to his penis, and he's going, "What is this? What is this?"
That's
And
quite a stopper.
it was it's a
Yeah.
big stopper. Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
because
and
it's
worked
pretty
every time.
funny. And
Yeah,
you couple will get down to business and forget about the little arguments. You have to
that's right.
remember the love. You
That's
have to
right.
remember, like, in my opinion anyway, is that, and I'm somebody who went through a divorce and had a bad marriage, but once you realize that, like I said, you're part of the same person, you're the same team, you're fighting against yourself, and you have to accept the shortcomings in your partner, I find.
That's
Like my
right.
wife will never say she's sorry or never
Right.
say she's wrong. So I
Ah.
just have to say, I'm sorry we fought, and I know I was wrong.
Do you know what I did? I had that same issue,
Yeah.
and I gave myself a 40-day challenge, and that was I will always accept that my wife is right, even if I don't believe it. And I'll tell you, she wasn't right all the time, but over 80% of the time I was
Exactly,
right.
exactly. Another thing we do is delineation of tasks. Like she's really
Uh-huh.
good at some things and has great strengths. That's yours. You take care of it. I've got the
Right.
good communication skills. I'll take care of other parts of either the communication with friends, family, business, whatever it might be. So we have a delineation of tasks so we know each other's strengths and we know how we complement each other.
Right,
So
right.
that's important too.
So you just gave away one of the keys.
Mm.
So I want people to go out and buy the book, and here are all the keys right here.
Exactly. It's important to
But
buy the book and really understand it and get entrenched in it and
right,
figure out how it'll work in your circumstance.
yeah. So what the one you just mentioned is to embrace differences,
Hmm.
not to use them, and they create synergy,
Yeah.
and the two become greater than the two. The sum of parts is greater than the whole, right? The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So anyway, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Thank you. I've got a question for you.
Sure.
I spoke to a marriage counselor one time on this show, and they said by the time most people get to counseling, it's almost too late.
Yeah.
Do you feel that people wait until the marriage is nearly destroyed by the time they come to see you?
Well, it's kind of like weight loss. If you do the right things and eat healthy, and you gain a few pounds, it's easy to lose them. But if you continuously don't nurture your marriage,
Mhm.
you're going to have a big mountain to climb. And the Gottmans, by the way, I'll tout his book, The Seven Habits of Highly Successful Couples, I believe it is. Anyway, they're researchers, and they say when they're in that last stage, it's very, very difficult. There's contempt for
Yeah.
one another. They hate each other. It's very, very hard to get through that.
Yeah.
And sometimes, sometimes just saying, look, I'm really sorry. I totally screwed up. I dropped the ball, right? I should have seen this. You're absolutely right. Without accusing the other person is an incredible thing. And then the other person can feel free to forgive them. We're not perfect people. We'll never be perfect people. We all have our shortcomings. You're spot on. And you have to learn to forgive people for those shortcomings. I think it's all about getting better, becoming a better version of your marriage. And that includes all the wrinkles and the blemishes and the whole 9 yards. Is you're gonna drop the ball.
Exactly. You got to make mistakes. You're only human, and you can't be at each other's throats because of that. Let me ask you this, Doctor. You touched on it earlier. There's a lot of temptations out there today, from
Oh
social
boy.
media to online dating. A lot of it is anonymous in many ways. How do couples stay on the straight and narrow when there's so much temptation these days?
Well, there's three components to love. You have the passion part, and you have which peaks first, and that's
Mhm.
what we're all the poets write about.
Yeah.
And then you have an intimacy part, which is growing closer together and sharing your life. But there's a third part that a lot of people miss, and that's commitment. That is to promise each other there will always be a reuniting and that you will always stay monogamous. And in today's society that moves so fast and there's so many temptations that people forget that commitment part. You might not feel like it today. You might want to throw that person right out the window, but there will always be a reuniting. We will always be together and we'll always make it work out. And that's what makes the good couple stay together.
Yeah. And you also touched upon this. Faith, if you have a common faith, is a strong pillar to rest upon with your marriage, right? Because you're looking at the bigger picture, you're looking at eternity, and you're
Yeah,
looking at what God wants.
exactly, exactly. And one of the thing about spirituality is that so first of all, you got a rule book,
Mhm.
right? You
Yeah.
can't know it says here is the Bible, this is what it says, so we both have the same values. But the second thing is, I think our love for God increases our capacity to love other people.
Mhm.
And I think that's one of the beautiful things about a Christian marriage. And if they can do it, there's a lot of nominal Christians out there, but if
Yeah.
you can do it, and it involves a lot of self-sacrifice. But I look at self-sacrifice, it's an investment.
Mhm.
If I say 5 words, you know how much return I'll get on that, the ROI, return on my investment. You know what that is? That can last a lifetime for me saying a sentence. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry, honey. I hate to hurt you. I just
Yeah.
hate to hurt you.
Exactly.
What do I have to do? When I made my mistake, I had moved out. I told my wife, she accepted me back. What a champion.
Mhm.
She accepted me back. And I said, I can't make this right. I can't erase the past, but I can apologize and make it worth your while for the rest of my life. Now that's
Yeah.
an apology, right?
Exactly.
Can you
Exactly.
accept that? Yeah,
Exactly. That you can't undo what's been done, but going forward, you can make sure that things are exactly as they should be. And I
exactly.
think that's a powerful statement and a very powerful apology. And obviously, one she accepted, and obviously, that's the kind of advice that you give your patients. We often hear communication is
Yeah,
at the heart of the breakdown of many marriages. Is that
yeah.
true in your assessment?
Well, I think that communication is part of a bigger problem, and that's irreconcilable differences. So I believe that marriage begins with irreconcilable differences, and you have to accept that. So you have to learn essentially to speak another language.
Hmm.
And it's not the end of the world. Women communicate way differently than men do. And they speak more words a day. Communication is very important that they stay in touch. But you know what's even more important than communication is engagement. Women like to be so right now you and I are engaged,
Hmm.
right? You're listening to me, I'm listening to and that is a dance that we see in good couples that begins. We learn that dance when we're infants in our mother's arms, and we're looking at them and we're smiling and they're smiling back.
Yeah.
And love, real love, recreates that moment. And
Mm.
that's when people feel close. So if you can communicate, I tell my male patients, I say, you got to learn how to speak your wife's language. Come on, you
Yeah.
learn Spanish in high school, you can learn this, right? It's easy once you get it. And communication, for example, for women is like a 5-course meal.
Mhm.
We're going to have communication, and we're
Yeah.
going to sit down and we're going to dish, and it's
Yeah.
you and me, this stuff.
Yeah. And when it comes to temptation, young guys will often say, meet this one or see that one. And I'll tell them that temptation and that lust will never really go away.
No.
There's always going to be somebody prettier, sexier, younger coming along.
Yep.
And so, that's where what you're talking about, and that's where the commitment comes in,
Commitment.
where,
Right.
you were crazy attracted to that person in the beginning. You've been with her now 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or whatever the case might be. Certainly the passion is not as passionate as it was.
That's
And
right.
you'll feel the same way about the next person if that's
That's
your
right.
pattern. And that's a
Yeah,
dangerous pattern.
it wears out after about a year, the
Yeah,
passion part, and then you got to work at it.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Great advice from the doctor, a great book from the doctor.
Thank
It'll
you.
help you turn your marriage around. And what's great about it, it'll help you turn around your marriage quickly.
That's right.
And before you get to the point where you're rolling your eyes at each other and contempt is really infiltrating everything. The name of the book is Tiny Keys Open Large Doors, and it's a powerful reminder that small daily choices can transform communication, closeness, and long-term love. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me here today.
It's great talking to you, Logan. God bless. Thank you.
Great talking to you as well. God bless you. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford for the Global Book Network. So long for now.